Hello everybody and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to improve your mind-body awareness for musical mastery. I'm Jennifer Roig-Francolí. I'm the creator of the Art of Freedom method for conscious living and masterful artistry. I specialize in coaching musicians online using this method, which is based on the principles of the Alexander technique, and Primal Alexander, which is a revolutionary amazing new way to teach Alexander technique without touch, which actually goes back to the origins of the Alexander technique, way back to when Frederick Matthias Alexander was working on himself, making his own discoveries about mind-body connection, and he overcame his vocal performance issues as an actor. And he did all of that through a process of self-observation, experimentation, and without anybody there. So he did not have the benefit of a teacher touching him, guiding him in how to change how he was speaking. He figured it all out for himself. And thankfully, we have a lot of records that tell us, books that he wrote actually, that tell us exactly how he figured out how to solve his performance problem. And not only that, this was way more than a century ago. He was born in 1869. And my partner, Mia Morales, has come up with this really incredible new way of teaching without touch, which I love. And that's the way I teach now. I've been teaching exclusively online since 2018. So now you know who I am if you didn't already. So again, the topic of today's video is how to improve your mind-body awareness for musical mastery. There is so much I could say on this topic, but I'm actually going to start in a way that I had not planned. You'll see why. So I don't improvise much on the violin, but it's absolutely necessary to know how to improvise in life. And if you're a musician and you've ever performed on stage, you know that things can go wrong on stage. And you know that things can go wrong behind the scenes before you get to the venue. Maybe you have to race back home because you forgot your shoes, or you thought you had the right outfit, but tonight is the one night you don't need black, or whatever. Things can go wrong unexpectedly. And if you have excellent mind-body awareness skills, you can recover really quickly. And so I'm talking about this right now because of what just happened to me, which I will share now. And so, I know my stuff, so I don't usually prepare much in advance for these live videos. Full disclosure. So this morning I sat outside. It's a lovely day. I had breakfast. I went for a walk. I got up early, but I did the things that I do every morning. I meditated, just the things I usually do. And I was in no hurry to prepare for this broadcast because I never do, and it usually goes fine. So I didn't prepare. And yet I said, okay, I'm going to leave an hour or so that I have plenty of time to prepare. So I did that, and then the unexpected kept happening. So long story short, 15 minutes before I go live for this, Facebook restricts my account so that I'm not allowed to post into groups for 6 days. You can imagine my delight at having that happen. So instead of working on what I had expected to do, what I planned to do is just plan this video, I was not frantically, this is what I'm actually going to talk about. I was quickly needing to completely reorganize how I was giving this video. I'm on my phone now, which works great, but I have even better systems set up that do all kinds of fun things like a countdown timer. And I was spending my hour kind of setting all those things up slowly, taking my time. And then Facebook locks me out of my groups. So I needed to deal with that, which meant jumping through all of Facebook's hoops. And thankfully, they did lift the restriction because what I was doing did not go against community standards. Anyway, long story short, I needed to do those things really quickly and not get stressed out to the point that I would not be able to be here and give you my best. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I do my utmost to practice what I preach. And what I am preaching, teaching every day, all the time, living, practicing for myself, is how to pay attention to my overall use of self. That's what Alexander called it, the use of the self. So there are very specific tools that I teach my students. And it is all about what Alexander said. He said, quote, "Mine is a method for the control of human reaction." So when Facebook locked me out of my own groups 15 minutes before this broadcast, I was not pleased. You can imagine my displeasure. I freaked out for a moment. I had my initial reaction like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. I'm only going live in one place and they're locking me out and I've told the whole world, right? So I had my initial reaction. There's nothing you can do really about an initial reaction. It's a stress response. It's a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. It's a survival response. And your system goes into high alert for a moment in order to fight Facebook. Oh, don't listen to that, Facebook. I didn't say that. To fight, right? Or to fight, flight, flee, run away. I wasn't going to run away and not do this and be with you. This is so much fun for me. And I'm hoping it will be useful for you. And I didn't go into a freeze, not knowing what to do. Now, the reason I was able to manage what just happened, which was highly stressful, was because of all the work that I do taking care of myself every day with the tools that I have, with Primal Alexander in particular, so that I could come on here and not feel overwhelmed with my heart racing. And, you know, like I told, if you're just coming on now, I was just telling people that I didn't have time to plan. I mean, I left plenty of time to plan this video, but things kept going, you know, unexpectedly. And then 15 minutes before, I was left without time to plan. So I'm just winging it, but I like winging it. And having the mind-body awareness tools and skills allow me and allow my students, allow the people who have this heightened awareness and better coordinating skills. It allows us to be able to face whatever happens, be ready for anything, rise to the occasion, and overcome whatever it is in the best way we possibly can. Alexander talked about quickening the conscious mind. That's a very interesting concept that I didn't understand for a long time. I'm not going to go much into that now. There's so much I could say about that, but it comes to mind right now because when the unexpected happens, like you go on stage and you have the wrong music. Has that ever happened to anybody? Or you have the wrong instrument. That happens to people sometimes. Or you have the wrong music is a good example. Well, can you maintain composure and poise and just take it as it comes? And maybe you have to say something to the audience spontaneously, or maybe you have to, whisper with people and say, hold on, wait for me a moment. I need to go off stage to get my music. How are you going to handle the thoughts that run through your mind at that moment when everybody's watching you, everybody is waiting, you've totally screwed up, and you have to walk off stage, get your music, come back on stage with everybody watching you? How do you handle that? And how do you handle the first notes and the rest of that piece that you need to play when you start playing? If you have a natural baseline of ability to control your whole self with excellent mind-body awareness skills, then you can just go with the flow. And come what may, you'll be ready for it. Okay? And so I told you the story about the beginning of this video because it's as if I was watching myself go through that very stressful moment and jumping through all the Facebook hoops and on my phone and do this, get this code and do this to lift the restrictions, and not knowing if I was going to be able to go live at all. And then not being able to do it on my laptop, they lifted the restrictions on my account, so I can do it on my phone, thankfully. But I still was not able to use the systems that I had set up in advance to go live here. And yet here I am, and I am so happy to be here with you. And I think that this is kind of what I needed to talk about, being ready for anything. That's why we want to improve our mind-body awareness skills. That's one reason. There are many reasons. I'm going to talk about more of them in just a second. Before I keep going, though, I do want to say hello to everybody here live. I am delighted that you're here, really happy that you made it on, that Facebook didn't lock you out of my Facebook group. And yes, please say hello in the comments. And it's so fun for me to, watch and see what you're saying and see where you're from. If you want to tell me where you're from, that's fun for everybody to see where people are. And also, not only that, but it's actually one of those Facebook hoops that really does help a lot, so that more people will see, like more people will be shown this video if you comment on the video. Okay, so I guess that's a little selfish request from me, and yet it's not, because I feel like this information is so important and so helpful to so many people that I really would love, I would love for the whole world to know about how to improve mind body awareness. And if you want to share this with other musician friends of yours, please do invite them to the group, the Facebook group, and all that. So anyway, hello. Thank you for everybody who is throwing a comment in, or you can just hit the emojis. That's good too. And I'm seeing some names popping up. So yeah, thank you very much for just typing in hello. Tell me where you're from. Mary Loney, I see you're here. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Oh yes, great. It's very hard for me to see the comments on my phone, by the way. So actually I'm going to hop over to, I have my laptop so I can actually engage with you. It's so much more fun if we can engage with one another. Yes, so sorry, one sec. I will be able to see. Oh, here, now I can see. Alexandra Nichols, hello, 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 from Johnston, Rhode Island. Donna, hello, nice to have you here. Hello from Paris. Oh, thank you. I'm glad the example was useful. Mary Loney from Wisconsin. Pam, cloudy in Seattle. I have to say, it's the most gorgeous day here, so I'm sending you some sunshine, Pam. All right, wonderful. Yes, please keep the comments coming. It's so nice to know that you're all here. Mary, yes. Kay in Kentucky, welcome. Wonderful. Doug, hello. Okay, so let me dive more into this topic. So I gave you an example of why it's useful to have good mind-body awareness so that you can deal with the unexpected and let things come as they may, go with the flow and do what you need to do the best you can with what you've got. So hopefully that was useful. Now, I'm not going to talk about what mind-body awareness is. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But I do want to talk about some ways that some other ways that it can be really helpful. Okay, so I said how to improve mind-body awareness for musical mastery. So mind-body mastery, sorry, musical mastery. I just had a glitch in my brain because now my phone is telling me I'm short on battery. Okay, maybe I'm just going to make this video really short. Maybe that's what the universe is telling me today. Like, keep it short, Jennifer. Okay, so for music, oh my gosh. In case I get cut off, which I won't because I still have plenty of battery to do a little more, I want everybody to know that I have a very practical video called the Best Alexander Technique Exercise. It's on YouTube. You can go there if you're in my Facebook group right now, which is called The Musician's Advantage with Jennifer Roig-Francolí. It's in the resources if you go to the guides. It's my go-to method created by Mia Morales of Primal Alexander to teach you the first step in mind-body awareness skills that I teach. It's called TheCyCle. Okay, we're not going to do it now, but I do it every single time I meet with my students. Every single class, we start with TheCyCle because it brings you back to the present moment. It brings your mind back from wherever it's wandering. It brings you back into awareness of your whole self, your whole body. You're embodying yourself with curiosity and healthy detachment so that you're very, very present to what you're doing and also a witness to what you're doing so that you're not really identifying with your mind thoughts and you're not identifying with your physical body, even though you're 100% with yourself, in yourself, being yourself. My work is all about how to be yourself and enjoy being yourself and share yourself through your music with joy and love. You need to know how to embody yourself in this way. And TheCyCle is the first step to do this. You need to learn how to clear your mind of excess clutter, right? I talked about, well, what do you do when you run on stage and everybody's watching you and you've screwed up? You need to be able to very quickly clear the negative thinking out of your head. And if your mind is cleared, your body just reflects that. So your body lets go of the excess tension that obstructs your technique and gets in the way of your musical expression. When you are an open book, a clean slate, you are free in yourself, then you have a chance to direct your next thought and your next movement so that it's in coordination with what you want. Okay? So again, the first step that I teach my students is called TheCyCle. It's a 2-minute mind-body awareness etude. Again, you can find it on YouTube or in the Facebook group anytime. I dare you to practice that for 5 days in a row, twice a day. Take it like antibiotics, so that I have all my students do. I guarantee you will notice it's a shift. And I really want you to reach out to me and let me know. Send me an email to jennifer@artoffreedom.me, or just send me a Facebook message, private message me anytime, or comment below here and tell me. In fact, if you're one of my students or you've done TheCyCle before, I would love it if you would drop a comment below and talk about your experience with TheCyCle. How has it helped you? How has it improved your mind-body awareness? And how has that helped you towards musical mastery? When we talk about musical mastery, I think all of us know that there are two completely integrated aspects to those words. There is an aspect of musical expression, musicality, and there's also technique. Now, I don't separate these typically. I don't think of them as different. Excellent technique to me is completely musically flexible. And musical expression, when it is masterfully musical, then there's an element of excellent quality, technical quality to that. But that doesn't mean you can't achieve musical mastery for just one note, even as a beginner. This is what I always tell my students. I don't care what skill level you are. You can achieve musical mastery on a micro scale, even in one note. And I've had many students do this before, and I've been blown away by a beginner cellist that I talk about in my upcoming book, who played the most exquisite note on her cello, sounded like Jacqueline Dupre or something. So again, I don't care. I work with amateurs who are total beginners. I work with elite professionals, faculty at the top institutions in the world, the top orchestras in the world. I work with anybody, the whole range, because the work that I do is actually, it's about you. It's about your primary instrument. It's how do you coordinate your thinking with your physical experience? How do you coordinate your thoughts with your body and your spirit, your emotions, your inspiration, your connection to meaning and purpose and something larger than you? To me, musical mastery, artistic mastery, is all of those things combined. You can't just have excellent technique. I mean, you can have excellent technique and sound like a computer, but who really wants to listen to that? You can turn on the computer and listen to computer music, or you can go to YouTube and, hear the most excellent, amazing performers on YouTube, and you can listen to that all day long. But there's something really, really special and very rare and unusual to hear somebody who's got it all. And what I mean by having it all is having that excellent coordination between what I call the 5 life pillars of the Art of Freedom method. When you're coordinating your purpose, we talk with my students, we talk a lot about purpose and, having a life mission statement and getting, dialing into why are you here? Why are you a musician in the first place? So when you're aligned with your purpose, coordinating your thoughts. So we have purpose, mind, body, spirit. That's that special life force, that spark of enthusiasm that you bring to what you do. That's your creative inspiration. Music is dead without that. And I don't want to listen to that, right? And I don't need to listen to that, right? Nobody needs to listen to that. But you need to understand how to coordinate the whole of you if you don't want to produce that. If you want to produce something that's richer and deeper and really moves you and then moves your audience. And then the 5th life pillar is, of course, artistry. You do need to kind of know how to hold the violin, at least minimally, to be able to play it and make music, right? So you need the basics of your technique and understanding, about our Western scale and what is a C sharp and when is it in tune and when isn't it, right? So you need to have basic artistic understanding and craft. All of that is lumped into the 5th life pillar for me. Okay, so I'm going to check my battery here. I've got 12%. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to keep talking as long as I can. I'm just so happy that you're all here and I'm able to connect with you after that near fiasco that happened right before I went live. So again, bringing us back to the topic, how to improve mind-body awareness for musical mastery. Okay, I gave you the first step. Actually, I didn't give you the real first step, which is a pre-step. It's about being able to discern between relative tension and relative ease in yourself. And then once you can do that, it's easier to pick up the cycle. But it's perfectly easy to just dive in straight with the cycle. So I just kind of skipped the pre-step, which is called IMA today. So, but this is the process that I take my students through. I teach them IMA, which is really checking in with yourself and getting to know, like I said, the difference between relative tension in places in your body and relative ease or comfort in your body. Because no 2 places of your body ever feel exactly the same, even for people who have chronic pain and feel pain all over. If you really pay attention, it's never exactly the same experience in more than one place at the same time. But again, I'm not going to go more into that. If you want to learn more about that, get in touch with me and I'll talk to you about options. So then I teach my students the cycle. After my students have learned the cycle, I teach them the next one. And we have a lot of what we call awareness etudes in the Art of Freedom method using Primal Alexander. Again, if you came on a little later, Primal Alexander is the practical process that I teach my students for mind-body awareness, coordination, artistic mastery, using a series of what we call awareness etudes. The cycle is the first awareness etude, but there's not much movement in the cycle. It's more meditative. After the cycle, there are a series of etudes in which we introduce some movement. And the very first etude after the cycle, it's actually like the second etude, it's called MJ. And everybody asks me, why is it called MJ? It's just really quick because Mio Morales, who created these etudes, was watching television while he was experimenting with his etudes, because that's what he does all the time. He's thinking about mind-body coordination and Primal Alexander technique all the time. They happened to be watching television, and there was a show on Michael Jackson at the same time that there then was a commercial with Michael Jordan, and they're both really excellent movers. Whether you like their music or not is irrelevant. They were like very excellent. They had really excellent mind-body coordination, or Michael Jordan has, right? So He just called it MJ, kind of fun. So the way MJ works is it's just really simple arm movements that don't have any emotional baggage. You know, we have a lot of, we can really get hooked into emotions when we start thinking about our instruments. Many of us have been playing for a long time. We have a lot of associations. We have a lot of habits. We may have had some negative experiences, lots of positive experiences. But anyway, there's a huge neural network of thoughts that can get triggered when you start thinking about your instrument and start going to play your instrument. For example, violinists, the habit of, I'd say 99% of violinists is to pick up their instrument and kind of do something like this. There's some squeezing here, some crunching here, and we don't even know we're doing it. So we don't, in the whole first level of my courses, you know, I have 3 levels of online courses. In the first level, the Jumpstart course, my students don't even use their instruments for most of it, right? Because you want to learn how to think and move this primary instrument yourself with maximum ease and effortlessness before you can apply that effortless movement to your music making. So that's why we start out with really simple movements like MJ that, like, who cares about this movement? It's a new movement that's not going to, you know, make you freak out or get you really excited. It's like, well, how do you move like this? And then we do something that's called constructive thinking, which is what you learn in TheCyCle. You start asking yourself a question in a certain way, very specific, important, certain way that I teach in the video. I teach my students, which is called constructive thinking. So you learn how to bring constructive thinking. By the way, it's not the same kind of constructive thinking that you might find if you look that up online or go to Wikipedia. It's not the psychology definition of constructive thinking. It's a very specific thing to the Alexander technique, and even more specific to Primal Alexander. It's not a general Alexander term or skill. Very specific to our work here. In fact, what you do in TheCyCle is you ask, where else do I seem to be easing a bit? But you ask it in a certain manner that is unattached, it's carefree, it's just curious and asking the question without needing to find a place in your body that feels free or easy or, yeah, no, it's not that at all. You're just kind of asking a question and tossing it off. You're learning how to use your brain differently. Constructive thinking is a different way of thinking. It's a different manner of thinking than what we're used to. It's the kind of thinking that the best artists can tap into without maybe even really knowing how they're doing it. It's what happens when you get into flow, and you may not even be thinking anything verbal. You're just into the swing of what you're doing. You're in a groove, you're in a flow state. Like the great athletes, they get into a flow state, they're into a flow state, right? So this work that I'm teaching about improving mind-body awareness is a way in to turning on that the flow state switch, but consciously, which most people do not know how to do and can't teach it, which is why it's really hard for most people to be musical if they're not musical, or to improve their technique without, it's like you can try and work really, really hard, but you might not feel like you're making a lot of progress because you're not using the right way of thinking to be able to do those things easily. So in the Art of Freedom method, in Primal Alexander, we are learning about a flow state and how to access that instantly, on command, even if you're in the middle of a performance. Even if, like me, right before the performance today, you think you might not be able to go on because something dramatic and unexpected just happened. Well, you can still be in the flow, right? Circumstances outside of you don't throw you off if you know this skill. So if you're in the middle of a performance and suddenly you turn 2 pages by accident and you're lost. That's happened to me. And then suddenly you realize and you have to flip back and find your place, and it doesn't throw you off. It doesn't freak you out. You're able to just keep going. You break a string, you keep going. That's happened to me too. Again, it's not about your skill level. To be able to have something unexpected happen and have control over your next reaction. Again, you can't do much. I said this earlier. You can't do much about your initial reaction to something. But as soon as you've had a reaction and you're aware of it, that's the moment of truth where you get to choose your next response. And with the awareness etudes that I teach, my students practice twice a day for just a few minutes. They're very easy and quick. When you have that, you've built up the neural network in your brain that reminds you to use constructive thinking instantly in that moment. When you have that realization that you're reacting and you want to go in a different direction, you want to go in the direction of ease and love and openness instead of totally freaking out and trying really hard to get back on task, and then you can't concentrate on what you're doing. You're just freaking about, and you can't stop thinking about what just happened, and you can't stop worrying about what's going to come up because your mind is so cluttered. If you know how to use constructive thinking, you can catch that craziness starting to happen, and you can flip the switch and not go there. And it's something all of us have the capacity to do, but it's a skill. And it's a skill that needs to be first recognized and then practiced. I call this skill, the practice of the skill, primary practice. It's the practice of your own use. How do you use your mind? How do you use your body? You are more than your mind and more than your body. So how do you use this instrument that is your mind-body self? How do you use it to take you where you want to go, towards something positive, and we call it musical mastery? How do you take yourself that little step further towards, actually, musical mastery? It's a process. How do you step into that flow, into that process of musical mastery, instead of, again, you can be in the hard work mode, thinking you're on the way to musical mastery, and you kind of get better at things, but it's not integrated. Okay, so I really hope that this is making sense to you. In fact, I'm going to hop over to my laptop so I can see your comments. And if you have any questions, now would be a great time to throw a question in, because I'm at 6% of my phone battery right now. So I'm just wrapping this up now. Fiona, hello. You teach this also. Excellent. She says, this happened just the other day. I closed my eyes, went into an improv, and had no idea where I was when I came back. Now I improvise while being in the present and present. Yes. Oh, I have a story to talk about, about, going off into something and then coming back. And that can really throw people off sometimes. I'm glad that didn't throw you off, but it can really throw people off when they're not present to what they're doing in the moment. And this skill, the constructive thinking skill that I teach, allows you to be present and not get carried away by your imagination, by your thinking, and also, very importantly, not get carried away by your feelings, either emotional or physical, right? It's very easy to get carried away by pain, for example. Okay, I'm down to 5%, so I think I'm just going to wrap up here. Pam says, I learned that I have a lot of strong habits that I didn't think I had. Jennifer's program helped me to recognize the habits that impeded my ability to do something with ease. Thank you for sharing that, Pam. That's really, really great. Okay, so just to wrap up this video now, I would love to get your comments afterward. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. Even if you are watching this much later, I always come back and check the comments. And you can tag me to make sure I see it. Like if it's weeks from now, I don't really care. That's fine. But I do want to make sure that you're all aware that I have a special kind of new program for this summer only. It's called Relax and Renew. And it gives you both my level 1 course that I mentioned before that's all about mind-body coordination and finding ease in yourself in your daily life that then you can apply to your instrument, mostly without the instrument though. The summer program, the Relax and Renew program, gives you also the level 2 course, which is my Skills Accelerator course. So you learn a whole series of really simple, easy, quick, but very, very profound and practical awareness etudes. You learn these in the level 1 and level 2 course, and then you learn a very, very powerful, effective way to bring constructive thinking into how you play your instrument, how you approach it, how you lift it. If you're a violinist or violist, how you place it without all this stuff, right? But for all instruments, it's helpful to approach your instrument without the excess tension you may not even be aware that you have. I guarantee you have it because everybody does. Even the top musicians are doing what they're doing with more tension than necessary. So these skills are applicable to anybody, and I would love to share them with you. So if you have questions, you want to learn about, you want details, just message me, send me an email to jennifer@artoffreedom.me. Ask me about the 2-month, actually it's a 9-week summer program. It includes private coaching with me. It includes the level 1 and level 2 courses, the Skills Accelerator course, and a fantastic community online that we have group sessions 3 times a week, actually. You can come to as many or as few as you want, but huge video resource archive. It's a great program. Usually it's a 30-day program or a 6-month program. So this is kind of a hybrid. There are some bonuses also that go away June 1st. I'm giving a $250 video review for free. And you also get a special discount if you sign up before June 1st. So please, if this is at all interesting to you, what I talked about today, you really, really, really would hugely benefit from learning exactly how to do this for yourself and improve your mind-body awareness for musical mastery. I would love to share it with you, so reach out and ask me for information. I have a few spots left, so hurry before June 1st and ask me for the information. Let me know if you're a professional or an amateur. I do not care. I just need to know so I can send you the appropriate information for you. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that Facebook allowed me to post in my own group so that I could meet with you today. And I wish you all the very best. If you don't know TheCyCle, hop over to YouTube if you have a few minutes. It's a 15-minute video to teach you a 2-minute really magical etude that you can use as your warm-up before every practice session. It is the best warm-up because it clears your mind of unnecessary thinking and releases your body of unnecessary tension. It's the best way to start a practice session and or a performance or your day. So again, thanks for being here. I wish you all the very best, and I hope to see you and hear from you very soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye.